You're listening to White Noise with your host, Drip, 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 Drip.
Once again, we are back on White Noise. I am your host, Davis, aka Drip. Shout out to Sham and Miss Suku of Black Announce Table for their part in the introduction. As always, I'm joined by Cal, founder, producer of Black Wrestling. And this week I have a very, very special guest, the number one droplet, the host of All Elite with Keeks, the Queen of Texas. You know her well. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Keeks, everyone. Hi.
Sheesh.
I begged him to be on this show for 2 months, and I'm finally on here.
Okay, real quick.
Oh.
First of all,
I didn't do it.
I asked you because we were supposed to do this exact episode back in October. Unfortunately, your schedule couldn't allow it. It was one of the baby's birthday. And then there was an event there was the next weekend that didn't work. I think there might have been a game you had to go to. And then the week after that, it just too late. So the schedules weren't aligning.
Not you blaming me.
I'm just saying, like, no, the schedules weren't aligned because at that point I then had other guests. Different ideas came into play. So this episode at the time was to celebrate 25 years of Mask versus Title, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, 25 years of what is known as the best match in WCW history. Probably the foundation for what is now main event wrestling in the form of cruiserweight style. Mm-hmm. So today we're going to be talking about cruiserweights, junior heavyweights, X division wrestlers, because often flippy wrestling, as it's been criticized, I should say. I am one of the fans of this style of wrestling. I know Keeks is as well. You grew up on it watching WCW. Mm-hmm. Cal, you are fond of it too, to an extent. It's not your end all be all.
It's one of them things where I grew up watching it, and then after a while, but after WWE bought everything, it wasn't the style that I would normally see, especially, and I imagine as people will talk about where their style changed because they were working there. So it wasn't on, and I wasn't looking for it.
Yeah.
You feel? So that's kind of what happened, which is sad, but.
Well, Keeks, you can start it off with WCW. They had the cruiserweights. They basically stole Paul Heyman's idea of let's bring in the guys from Mexico and Japan to the States.
A thief.
Paul Heyman said it again, and everything Eric
Bischoff said he don't recall.
Yeah, everything Eric Bischoff ever did was
he said I don't recall.
I don't recall that.
That.
So that's how you know when someone's a liar and a thief is if they can't recall.
He said, "No, I didn't do that. I don't recall."
No, that shit happened. I seen it. I was there. Contrary, I was watching everything.
However, Eric Bischoff also did go to Japan to see wrestling over there, but I don't know if the junior heavyweights caught his style as much as the other part of Japanese wrestling. Hence the NWO, which
I mean, WCW did have a when they went, especially from NWA to WCW, they did have a light heavyweight division, but it was maybe like a year and change, and it's if I'm not mistaken, that belt kind of moved to that's what the lineage became, the cruiserweight title or something like that. But they had Jushin Thunder Liger was over early. But if I'm not mistaken, when Bischoff was in Japan and Korea, they were doing a lot of those When Worlds Collide Super Brawl shows where they would have New Japan Town on there, all that shit. Well, so you would see a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah, I think the first Super J Cup happens prior to the cruiserweights coming over, Nitro starting in '95, and again ECW is kind of already incorporating the Rey Mysterios and Conans and Juventud Psychosis from Mexico. They had Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Too Cold, even though he was a bit, I think, just out of bounds due to his weight.
Too Cold, famously in ECW, he would make jokes about they would announce his 240, 47, and he would have to hit the announcer and talk in the air, and he'd be like, "I'm sorry, at a chiseled 245 pounds," something like that. Like that's what you wouldn't know about the way he moved, but I was gonna. Fun fact: guess who wrestled in the first match in Nitro?
Jushin Thunder Liger, and he's kind of
Jushin Thunder Liger.
I would say he is the founder of this style, just in terms of its importance in America, because it is just another aspect of Japanese wrestling, the strong style, the hard hitting submission base. But when Jushin Thunder Liger invents the shooting star press,
the
running power bomb, all the sentons and also great Sasuke's, and Ultimo Dragon goes to Mexico, learns their style, then comes back over. Once this stuff comes to the States, because of Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman as well, it takes off. And Keeks, what did you see when you would watch Nitro growing up with this style and its stars at the time?
Jushin Liger, that was the reason I became a fan of Jushin Liger when he did step foot in WCW. All the stuff that because I started watching WCW around 96, early 96. So and around that time, the Cruiserweight champion, I want to say, was it Rey Mysterio when he got it the second time?
It might have been. I should actually pull it.
Well, 96 is the famous Great American Bash debut of Rey Mysterio against current champ Dean Malenko, and it's him, putting Rey Mysterio in the spotlight of like this young up and coming no one knew, who's so undersized, and like how does he compete against the likes of Dean Malenko, who was small for a regular guy in terms of like the heavyweights of WCW, but like was the heavyweight of the junior division, the cruiserweight division.
Around that time, because the Luchadors wasn't as fast as Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio was like the forefront of being faster. Instead of just doing the hot spots, he was actually fast too, which we see modern day Luchadors are like now.
Fun fact, Rey Mysterio Jr. won his first Cruiserweight title July 8th, 1996. His second win was that following October, or I'm sorry, the next October of 97.
Okay.
But he won it off of Dean and then lost it off of Dean.
I remember him in the Dean feud. That's when I came in on.
Because they almost had a back and forth series after the Great American Bash. I remember the Rey Mysterio DVD I had. It's like him and Dean Malenko going at it numerous times is what got him the recognition and respect of the Cruiserweight division and all that. And then him and Jericho have a feud, which they would recreate for the IC title in late 2000s WWE. They would just run it back, but as older, heavier guys. But like Keeks said, his speed is what changed this style. I mean, Jushin Thunder Liger was a little bit slower, but he was stronger. He could do certain flips. But Rey Mysterio's speed is what you combine all these styles, and that's what we see today with the Will Ospreys, the Dante Martins, the Banditos. You name them, and it all starts kind of in the 90s with Rey Mysterio, Jushin Liger, even the Dean Malenkos when you get to the technical aspect of it, and transitions and holds and submission style wrestling. It encapsulates everything, and that's what I guess heavyweight style doesn't. When you would think about the matches at the time, like Sting versus Hogan, Flair versus Luger, the likes of those matches, and what they were stars. That was what their appeal was. But the appeal of these guys is look what they can do. No one else can do this. Wouldn't you agree, Cal?
No, I'm sitting here amazed. I'm sorry, because I was trying to. Y'all kept talking about Mysterio, Malenko, and WCW. I'm like, they were both in ECW, but they never wrestled. But then I look, Rey Mysterio had 9 matches in ECW. 9. Some of the most fun I ever had watching pro wrestling in the mid 90s was watching Rey Mysterio fight Psychosis. Apparently 1, 2, 3, 4. They fought half of the times that he wrestled in ECW was a match with Psychosis in it.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
One of them was like the famous 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah, bangers. That was their second match.
Same thing like Guerrero and Malenko who would run that style match. Again, Paul Heyman would take these matchups that ran the circuit in Mexico or Japan and put them in Philadelphia, New Jersey, wherever they would be at that time on the East Coast, and then Eric Bischoff would see that and be like, well, I'm going to put this on weekly television instead of these bingo halls that, no one sees them. It's sort of like what Triple H was doing in NXT after William Regal and whoever else would go to Reseda in PWG and see what was going on there. Famously, Pete Dunne and Mark Andrews had a match at Bola maybe 2015 or so. And then they ran it back in the first ever UK tournament for the NXT UK brand. And Dave Meltzer famously said, like, the match they had at NXT UK wasn't as good as the match they had in PWG. And that might be the bias of what's in Reseda and what's out of Reseda. But it was still good. It's like, this is what they wanted to bring to NXT, this style of wrestling, and put it on with a bigger spotlight is this style of undersized guys, what they can do in ring compared to what they can do on the mic. And that's, I think what you said perfectly, Cal, was after he buys WCW, they do keep the Cruiserweight title alive somewhat. Tajiri has it, Billy Kidman, Jamie Noble, then Rey Mysterio shows up and he kind of becomes the star division. But when NWA TNA starts, that's the X division. And the whole point of that was it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits. And then when I started watching in 2005, I see AJ Styles for the first time. And it's like, I didn't know anyone could ever wrestle like that. I've seen Rey Mysterio, but this guy is something else compared to Rey Mysterio. And then someone like Samoa Joe comes in, who's basically, even though I hadn't seen Taz like that yet, but he can do the suicide dives, he can do the other stuff. And that's what TNA wanted to do, is combine all the styles of Japanese, Mexican, European wrestling with American style, what had now become American style. Like, because guys watched Rey Mysterio in WCW. The Hardys famously said like their hero was Rey Mysterio because he was the smaller guy going so fast and he couldn't pick up dudes, so he had to use everything else as his arsenal.
It's crazy. It's actually kind of I kudos to Paul Heyman for doing that, because I probably, if I hadn't have been watching ECW, I wouldn't have seen Rey Mysterio. I wouldn't have known what a Rey Mysterio was until 96 or whatever. And being the fucking hyper obsessed nerd that I was, but it was interesting because even at the time, like Dean Malenko, I'd seen Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero doing their thing, but their shit was a lot of holds.
Yeah,
like it was straight. We're doing mat wrestling. We going counter for counter. We make hit a stalemate, because those TV matches were ill. Those were on par with my Sting and Muda matches. I wish Muda was a couple pounds lighter, because Muda would have made my list. But when Psychosis,
he started like that first. He was kind of the heavyweight that was going to do that stuff,
that was the problem. They
hadn't figured that out yet. I think
for that shit.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I think him and Jushin Liger had what was not a feud, but like a feud where like Jushin Liger was undersized, but he can do what Muda was trying to do at heavyweight. Like, I'm going to do this for the guys around my weight and height. You know, the moonsaults, again, the back springboard back fists and all of that, the kicks, the strikes, because that's the other part, is the MMA influenced style of how you hit your opponent. Right.
I'll say that I had never seen no shit like Jushin Liger before he came in. I didn't know what a Jushin Thunder Liger was. The mask, none of that shit.
Yeah, he has and you find out like it's an anime. They created.
He was a whole character. He was a whole character. But when you saw it, because again, like you said, he had the physicality, but he was in the ring banging with Brian Pillman and fucking Brad Armstrong and the shit back like 91, 92. Like when he first came into WCW, his size made him stick with those guys, but you could tell that he was clearly not just one of those guys. Like, shouts to Brad Armstrong, you wasn't Jushin Liger, my guy. You could just run with Jushin Liger.
But you not.
And that's what you think of, like, who were our American equivalents at that time. Like, the only one that came close is a North American guy, and that's Owen Hart. They sent him to Japan. Mm-hmm. And he wrestled that style and kind of adopted it, and with the Hurricane Ranas, and again his speed, his whole. You didn't what?
Lie on Christopher Irvin one more time.
I knew she was going to say
it. That sets up. Well, I guess we're also forgetting Tom Billington, the Dynamite Kid.
Yeah, we just got to look at we got to start talking about times that we're talking about, because Owen Hart would have been,
because after Owen Hart comes back, that's what leads the man to go become the Pegasus Kid.
Right.
A man going to become Lionheart, a man going to become Black Tiger under a mask. And when those guys show up in WCW as the Redacted Wolverine, as Chris Jericho, as Eddie Guerrero, they're the stars of this division. And they put on classics with each other numerous times, like those Benoit Guerrero matches, the Guerrero Jericho matches.
Benoit could have made, if Benoit was still here and not on some, he could have made the list.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like,
I know that's the unfortunate. We all thought it when making this, because what we're going to do shortly is we're each going to put up 4 of our favorite cruiserweight, junior heavyweights, X Division stars, and form like an all-star team, all time, current, present, past. So it doesn't matter who you've picked, as long as they had been a champion. But yeah, I mean,
but I'm glad that you said his name, because I thought you was about to sit up here and lie.
No, and that's the unfortunate. That's the unfortunate part. You can't acknowledge him, but you also can't forget. Again, like in Japan, he won J Cup. He was a junior heavyweight champion when he had the mask as Pegasus Kid, and then when he became Wild Pegasus without it. And that's where him and Jericho started, him and Guerrero started, and they come over to WCW and kill it on the undercard, but are afterthoughts on the main card in terms of like they can't rise above a certain level due to their size and style. Like, how is Kevin Nash going to wrestle with Eddie Guerrero? It's like, well, Kevin Nash can't fucking wrestle, so don't blame Eddie Guerrero for that.
Word.
Because his man, Shawn Michaels, wrestled the exact same style.
Jesus Christ.
It was also a hater in the locker room too. That's all.
I mean, and that's the sad part. That's always kind of like the underlining story with this shit, right? Is that there's always a hater in the locker room when it comes to, especially back then. That was the whole reason they banded together and had to be a squad. But that's why we ended up getting those Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerreros, those Rey Mysterios and Dean Malenkos and Eddie. Like, you got to shine with the people that know how to help you shine, and that was the beautiful part about WCW at that time. They all knew how to work with each other.
What's the name was in Vince's ear? Get all that cruiserweight division.
Yeah, grab all.
Well, think about when they come over
right here.
When they come over, they go straight to the IC title. Like that's their spot.
Grab them, watch what happens.
and it was fire.
Yeah, and then after like Chris Jericho's the first guy they push to the top, and you're like, you'll be our world champion. That leads to the domino of Eddie Guerrero gets the WWE championship. Redacted Wolverine has his moment at WrestleMania 20, but then after that, it kind of Rey Mysterio gets it in 06. Like, you know, these four are kind of like the poster childs of like, you can be undersized and be champion. You can wrestle this workhorse style that no one else can. But the unfortunate part is like, to what extent in the eyes of this decrepit old man who has a fondness for big muscle men instead.
Jesus, when you say it like that.
Well, that's what leads to TNA putting like the belt on AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and you know you can somewhat have success there. But even then, once that regime started to go in the Vince McMahon direction, the Chris Daniels, the Frankie Kazarians, and who others got set back to where they belong. Jay Lethal, Consequences Creed. Guys that would have been junior heavyweights or cruiserweights in the past are, just again, mid-card fodder for these guys in charge. But in Japan, it's still going strong. That's how they're able to cycle in. I mean, Kushida, Hiromu Takahashi, the class they've had in the last 8 years has been strong. Will Ospreay, Ricochet, again, Matt Sydal.
There you go.
And then there's all the stuff that, Keeks no more, but in Mexico with Dragon Lee, get Mystico, Bandito, Phoenix, Pentagon, like Vikingo, like it's still going strong today. And that's why it pretty much occupies wrestling Twitter in a way of like GIFs, videos, they're all highlights of this. How many highlights are just like a dude dropping a leg these days? And it's like, oh, that shit hard. It's like, no, he's doing a 450 leg drop before it because that's that real shit. Like, who else can do that? Only two other guys.
How come I don't like AJ Styles as much? I'm looking at his Impact. So I'm wondering if it's because I was not watching Impact when he was doing all of the things, the Triple Crown and Grand Slam.
Let me to be honest.
All right, so let's start it off. I'll go first, then Keeks, then Cal, and we're just kind of going that clockwise fashion.
Do the damn thing.
I do have AJ Styles on my list.
Of course you do. He's
my first selection. Again, like, he would do a Frosbury flop, which I had no idea what that was, but it's just like him running over the ropes and like doing like the track and field event where you just like jump over the pole like that. And I'm like, what the hell? And he would do a springboard to a reverse DDT. Just it's insane maneuvers. And he's doing this for a guy. I'm like, I've never seen anyone wrestle like this. And he would then pick up someone like Abyss too. He would pick up Samoa Joe. I'm like, so he's doing all these flips and has the strength to pick up these bigger guys.
Is he why you like Will Ospreay?
Yeah. Will Ospreay.
I just figured it out. I just figured it out.
Will Ospreay said Will Ospreay said AJ Styles was his biggest influence. That's why he would wear the elbow pad at first on the one arm.
You didn't see it, Cal. It's obvious.
Yeah.
When's the first time I watched a full Will Ospreay match?
2 months ago.
When Kenny Omega beat the shit out that man for about 45, 50 minutes or whatever. Like I don't watch that. I see him on AEW. I don't watch that man matches like that. But it just that shit just clicked for me.
Yeah, but I would see AJ Styles and like the Ultimate X match when they brought that out. It's like you gotta hang from these cables to grab the belt instead of using a ladder. It's like you have to be crazy athletic to do this. Like he did I would see people do like a 450 splash, but he's doing it on a springboard from the ropes. I'm like, I've never seen anyone do that. Like, it seems like there's so much more room for error, but like he would just stretch like all the way out and like crash and burn, almost like it was RVD's frog splash combined with a 450 before it. And just his style, again, it's the biggest influence I think of the past 15 years. Was like it starts with Jushin Liger, Rey Mysterio, and then AJ Styles. I would say that's why we get like the Ricochets and the Will Ospreys and whoever else they're influencing today. I mean, like Leon Slater, Michael Oku, Nick Wayne. We see today with the people who are, 18, 22 years old on the rise. But yeah, AJ Styles is my first selection. Again, king of the X division, face the likes of Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, Samoa Joe, Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, like some names today. I mean, he was that guy. And then he went on to be king of the heavyweights in TNA, Japan, WWE. One day we'll do an AJ Styles centric episode, but I had to give him a quick shout out here.
Are we going to talk about those questionable promos?
No, we are not, Cal. No, we are not.
Why not?
I just have to add.
So should we still celebrate Ron Simmons after what he said?
I mean, in that one time in the promo where he said that, I have. What was that in reference to?
I don't know exactly what it was.
I didn't see it. No, I'm just kidding. Who's your next person?
No, I said it. Now, Keeks, it's...
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Keeks. Who's your first?
Okay. Of course. Oh, this freaking dog. If it's not the kids, it's this dog. I'm sorry.
We'll give you a second if you need a second. Cal, do you want to go?
Yeah, I do need You could go, Cal.
My first... on my list. My first is... Damn. My first is Jushin Thunder Liger.
All right, that's going to throw things in a wrench for Keeks, so I'll show to put someone else up.
Why? She can't say who I said?
I'm not. We can't. It has to be 12 slots, and the same person can't be on twice. So
why not?
That's why I was asked. So here's the thing.
Well,
I asked Cal for his list yesterday. He said, "I'm not ready yet."
I got mine ready 3 hours ago.
Exactly.
I did too.
And that's where I'm like, see, this is why I don't try to incorporate that many people, especially with a task like this, because I expect things have. That's why I couldn't put any images together. Like things have to be. See, this is where the whiteness in me of like, if it says we have to be there at 8:30, we have to leave 20 minutes before we should even be there, just to make sure we're on time.
And then I said, so what we talking about today?
So if the movie starts at 8, Cal, and it's 10 minutes away, I'm making sure I'm out the door at least by 7:25.
Yeah, but you talking like we about to watch 3 different movies, though. Like we all about to watch the same movie. We can't have the same.
What I'm saying, see, this is why, and this is the only like the real white thing about me is you have to be prepared.
I'm prepared.
You have to be ready. No, the day before it should have happened. That's why I asked yesterday.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Anyway, Jushin Liger. Speak on Jushin Liger, even though we've kind of spent the first 20
that
minutes.
That man was a goddamn legend. It's one of them things where I have to represent a pioneer. It's one of those things you can't. I'm not saying there wouldn't have been a cruiserweight division because guys like Brian Pillman and them are already moving, but I think they needed someone to check them. They needed someone to say, "All right, here's the line you got to cross." And
standard.
And I will say, I can't hear God rest his soul, but I would imagine someone like Brian Pillman would say, wrestling with Jushin Liger, it made me step my game up because he had to elevate to take his abilities and match a fucking anime god in the ring running around and doing shit better than him. Yeah, no, that man was the bomb. .com. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take nobody choices though.
Well, Keeks, you can speak on him now, but unfortunately you have to use the other replacement you had instead. But what are your thoughts on Jushin Liger?
What replacement?
You had someone.
Yeah, because you sure did use one of mine, Cal. But
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Christopher Jericho is, of course, one of mine. WCW is the reason why I became a Jericho stan in the first fucking place. Jericho's run in 97 in the WCW Cruiserweight division got my attention. His his feud with Eddie Guerrero and also Dean Malenko, and of course, you have to add Juice on there as well.
Takes his mask.
Yes. So if you look at Jericho's past matches, and Grapple on Twitter is a perfect account for that because they always post his old matches, and you can kind of see. I see a little bit of Bryan Danielson a little bit with Jericho. Jericho is known for his countering, and also he is a great in-ring reader. Jericho's the go.
Jericho got a little bit of Danielson, but Danielson can still do that shit. Jericho, he on to something else.
Danielson is not 52. Okay,
hey, Danielson is.
He's had worse injuries though.
When Chris Jericho was the same age as Danielson, he was still able to do.
No, you're right.
Yeah, so
you right.
His knees gonna start. He'll start feeling in his knees.
Oh, that nigga's already fucked up. He was bleeding on his head. He was twisting his arm and shit. Yeah,
Bryan Danielson, you cannot retire until you wrestle Zack Sabre Jr. Though that's what we want.
Oh, he probably knows that too.
You cannot retire until you face him. In the G1 tournament.
You
better you. He
can't do the G1 because I mean,
yes, he can. He got to. I have it fantasy booked in my head.
I'm saying him wrestling every week is already like a death wish. Him wrestling every other night. You got for 20 minutes against Hiroki Goto and Sonata and all these guys.
He won't listen to me, so you better tell your boy Tony Khan or whatever that. Let him go fly to Japan.
You mean the man who books the Gun Club to beat the Acclaimed? But notice there.
I love it. Shouts to the timeline for giving me the joy. What? No! I just started watching pro wrestling today. Shut the fuck up. They gotta lose to win again. What? Come on.
Look at Cal rooting for white men during Black History.
It ain't. I don't even know their names.
That's what that was.
I don't know their names. I don't know their names.
I know you grew
up. They're
the
ass boys.
I know it's funny when these same people who crying for I said on the show, the Acclaim, they wasn't thinking about the Acclaim when they first won the titles. Now they
were. What do you mean? We're not doing this right now.
They was over, but these people, you gonna mean to tell me that the people who were invested in the Acclaim last week when they lost, it was the same amount of people when the Acclaim first won the titles? They were able to. They didn't get. So you mean wait,
because Tony Khan can't book a champion.
Let me answer the question. So you mean to tell me when somebody wins a title, they just stay at the same level? You're not giving them any time to raise up. You don't think that more people got to be fans of them after they got a title?
They did.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they got more fans after that.
That's what I'm saying. So you can't act like there's no reason for them to lose a title to then put somebody else. So you need to build up a division, which means you need to build up people that's not FTR and all these other groups. Swerve and Our Glory's gone. The two white guys behind Swerve don't play anymore. They don't play together outside of walking behind Swerve. You need to build up a tag division.
They not building them up. They just gonna lose to FTR. We already know why they did this.
I knew that. Why everybody's mad about it, I don't get it.
Because it's the Gun Club. That's like, oh my God, Jinder Mahal is the WWE champion. Like
me personally, I'd rather the transitional been Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett.
Okay, all right. You know what, Cal? If you can just like, Hearts isn't here. She's not listening to this. We don't need that. Somehow she just were like.
Anytime I say something bad about that person, I get yelled at. But I'll say this: these guys are a better joke of champions than those two guys being joke champions. Because ain't nothing serious with Jeff Jarrett in the building. At the very least, these little gun motherfuckers can build into something. Hopefully.
It's like, and then Billy Gunn's reaction is like he was happy, but then he heard the crowd. He was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, he about to split on him too. I was waiting for him to split on him right then and there.
He won't because that's why it was so. We're not doing All Elite with Keeks, which is on every Monday on the Public Enemies podcast YouTube. Shout out to the homies over there.
If you want, it Monday.
My fault.
Yeah, but you're right. Chris Jericho and Danielson do have that similar style because the way they're built. Again, they're not tall enough. They're heavy, but they're not heavy enough. They have these same exact builds where like they wrestle this out. Like again, they have kind of the same kick style. They can do flips like the Lionsault, or like Danielson does like his moonsault off the top when someone runs out. Like, but it's more grounded, and that's why they're again the emphasis on holds. Like, I mean, Chris Jericho created the Lion Tamer basically, right? Like, who instead of a Boston Crab, I'm going to put my knee in your back and ask him.
But I will say that where Bryan Danielson
and Bryan Danielson is like, I'm going to hook your arms and then like flip forward with like the cattle mutilation, like all these holds. It's just like.
But I think that it's and again I'm old, but you say Lionheart and ECW, that hair was flying. He would hit you with, you know, a fake ass Boston Crab. I'm just kidding. But he was bouncing off of those ropes. He was hitting them drop kicks just like all. But it was even more so than a Benoit and Dean Malenko, because Malenko was very grounded. Benoit could do that stuff, but he was still trying to kill. He was still trying to punish people. Yeah. Jericho kind of mixed them both up. He could do all the technical stuff, but he could also bounce off those ropes. It was, and that's why I stayed watching him, because it was a dope mix of all of that stuff.
And one of his favorite opponents was Too Cold Scorpio at ECW.
Look, Too Cold. I just watched the Too Cold Dean Malenko match the other day. They was always banging. And again, if Too Cold was a 20 pounds lighter back then, but I'm gonna have, because I don't know. See, now that I know how Drip's thinking, I gotta figure out my
otherwise choices. I got plenty of substitutions. I'll have to play the role of David Stern and just make the draft picks myself, because y'all don't know how to.
No, I don't, and I don't give a fuck either. I'm gonna have to go with Dean Malenko.
That was my backup.
I'm gonna have to go with Dean Malenko.
Well, Cal, it was my turn anyway, because we were going this. But it's all right. So, Dean Malenko. Speak on Dean Malenko.
Dean Malenko, I didn't know what a Texas Cloverleaf was. I didn't know what half them moves that he was. Again. See, this is the thing. All right.
Who invented the Texas Cloverleaf?
Can I take this back first? Because I don't think people understand certain things. Like,
if Mama Keeks was here, she would have been like, "How did?"
Let me explain. Y'all don't like WWE, right?
No, I do.
WWE style. Let me say, WWE style of pro wrestling is not your favorite, right?
No.
And I know it's not his either. I grew up on that. When pro wrestling to me was WWF in Madison Square Garden. Oh, I saw Arn Anderson's. I saw a lot of technical wrestling in WCW, but it would be a lot of the same motherfuckers. And they wasn't pulling out a lot of the stuff I was seeing until I was watching ECW. So when I saw somebody go in, like, low key.
Not the wrestler.
No. Low key, the wrestler is now the hitman. He's got the hitman persona from like the video game with the suspenders and shit.
He would qualify for this.
Dean Malenko, the shooter. Dean Malenko, when he first came out, that was what he looked like one of them Iceman mafia killers. Like it just straight up, just all right, let me go. Get this lead pipe and just going.
That's why he was the Iceman. That's why
it was so meticulous. So it was Anderson school on the next level. And like I said, that was the first time I'd seen somebody get in the ring and just be like, look, oh, that's your ankle. It hurt. Bet. You got about 15 minutes. All right. I'm about to fuck your ankle up for 15 minutes. You ready? You ready? You not ready? All right. I'm about to go in. And when you were able to put him and against some of these people and he could catch them while they was running, come on.
And that's where you get, to me, like when you see Roderick Strong wrestle, it's exactly what like a Dean Malenko would be like today. Just again, Roderick Strong add that speed more often, but not that Dean Malenko was slow. But when you think about like those four guys, Guerrero, Benoit, Jericho, and Mysterio, like they each were different. Again, Rey Mysterio being the smallest had to be the fastest. Benoit had the ferocity. Eddie Guerrero had basically the perfect combination of it all. That's why he was the GOAT out of them. And Chris Jericho again had the technical aspect and the bigger, heavier style. And Dean Malenko wrestled just so methodically and, like you said, how scientifically, which is why we get like the Pete Dunnes, the Zack Sabre Jr.'s, the Jonathan Greshams of today with like, working that arm until it's completely useless and you can never do it again. But then he would, because he was the heavyweight for that cruiserweight division, he would do the backbreakers and the gut busters to Ultimo Dragon, Jushin Liger, Rey Mysterio and such. But yeah, Dean Malenko again, just a masterclass. I think the Texas Clover, the man of 1,000 holds.
He's at AEW now. Who's he working with?
He's a coach. If
yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
Oh, because Wikipedia says he's a senior producer. Do you think he's helping produce these Danielson matches?
Maybe
it will make sense if it does. If it is him.
Because I don't know who else. I can't tell who else. I'm not seeing a lot of shooter.
Well, don't forget he produced for WWE for years too, and he probably produced when guys like Chris Jericho and were having their run too. When the smaller guys started getting some run at the top, he was probably involved in that. Just like how Billy Kidman the last years was kind of right there in the same position, and you kind of continue to see smaller guys get opportunities. Fact. And I don't know, it's not like they have like they're the number one voice in Vince's ear, but I bet they have like, hey, I have something to offer. Much like Tyson Kidd, TJ Wilson is doing that, I should say, for the women and coaching them up and being like their number one advocate for Sasha Banks and Naomi and Charlotte and all that when they were having this great run of matches from 2016 on. But I think you can definitely sense that this gauntlet Danielson's been going through, it does have like the Dean Malenko vibe, especially that Bandito match was like as close as you could get to Malenko Guerrero in the modern age.
Yes,
that shit was hard.
That's what it was.
Was that the best match of that series? I'm sorry, I'm so off. Yeah. That was the Bandito was the best one because the Roosh one was.
There's a tie between him and Roosh to me.
Roosh match was really fucking good.
Well, don't forget him and Takeshita was great too. That's what kicked it off.
That was a good match.
And the unfortunate part is the only weak one has been Brian Cage, and I do like Brian Cage, but that we all knew that was going to be the weakest one going in, and I think Brian Cage is a good wrestler, but it didn't even fit though.
Yeah, it did fit.
And the Timothy Thatcher one, like you said, how wasn't is what you hoped
it
didn't deliver.
It delivered on making Timothy Thatcher's face like a real star because he looked like a
this
dirty
man
pirate.
was in NXT. Come on.
Yeah, I know. And guess when I actually started caring about him?
You weren't watching.
No, I knew. The name wasn't
NXT.
Yeah, he before he went to because he's been all over the world. Before he was in NXT. His
run was basically the entire 2020, 2021 COVID NXT. That was his time in NXT.
I think how about that? You ain't saying nothing like that to Hurdle. I didn't hear his name until the end of his run because I didn't know what the fuck Timothy Thatcher was. But all the footage you see from him all over, he looked like he would be in that.
They created the fight pit for Timothy Thatcher. Keeks, you don't remember that? It was him and Riddle, then him and Ciampa. Okay,
I don't recall.
She was watching.
I don't recall.
Do you want to speak on Dean Malenko before you get to your choice, and it has to be a new choice?
Yeah, I agree with everything Cal said. Cal was going to say everything I was going to say. I was going to be on the. He was more of the stand on your feet wrestler, but he did give that balance in that cruiserweight division as being like the light heavyweight of it. But yeah, Cal said everything I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
And he's famously involved in Chris Jericho. The 1004 holds feud, and when Dean Malenko was gone, then he comes back under the mask and takes the title from Jericho. Like their history together too. Like I said, Jericho's running 97. It kind of ends.
That's why I feel like he'll be the one to that will induct Jericho if it was to ever be when Jericho retires and they do give him that Hall of Fame because
this year in March, in April.
No, he still has one more year. He still has one more year.
He's gonna retire in Philly.
No, because he signed it another 3 years. So
shit.
Why you want to see Chris Jericho get inducted?
I'm ready for. I'm realizing I'm tired of nostalgia. I'm tired of these old niggas. Like it's too much new blood out there to be worried about. When Christian gonna be coming back. No disrespect to Christian. Do like they do in New Japan. Have your your farewell tour, bye Christian, all that stuff.
Goodbye,
and then go chill out somewhere. There's too many good people on the indies that need to come up. You holding spots. That's no disrespect to Christian. I'm sorry.
So
what did Christian do to you?
It was just he was the first name that I thought of an old person that came in the wrestle that didn't really. Like they wanted.
He was wrestling. He was wrestling great.
Christian's. What's the best thing he did on this last run?
In AEW?
Yeah, when he dropped Kenny Omega head on the chair. That was
you
it.
love that.
God, don't bring that up.
That was it.
Him and Adam Cole had a really good match too. That was good.
Yes, they did. They did. Yeah. Yes, they did.
Baby.
Yes, they did.
So Kyle, that was your second pick. Keeks, who's your second pick?
Shoot, he took my second pick. I'm gonna have to go with Eddie Guerrero.
Nice one. That's a great pick.
I mean, it speaks for itself. Eddie Guerrero speaks for himself. One of the best wrestlers still to this day, in my opinion. One of my favorites. He's my number one. Jericho's my number two. But Eddie Guerrero, of course, we bring it up all the time. Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio. That is the forefront of modern day wrestling that we see today. His when he Latino LWO. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Latino World Order.
Yeah, so it's just a lot. I wasn't really prepared, but yes, Eddie Guerrero. And also his feud with, of course, he had one with Dean Malenko. I'm missing somebody.
In WCW?
Yeah.
He had the two phases.
Didn't he have one with him too? Okay, yeah.
Well, he kind of had the two phases because he was at first dry hair, singlet, babyface Eddie Guerrero.
Dry hair is crazy.
That's and then
it's true. No, you're right. Yeah.
Then he,
Six. That's who it was. Yeah, because
it was 6'2" that he had a feud with, and then it's another person that I'm forgetting. I feel like I'm forgetting.
But that Eddie Guerrero, with the like I said, the dry hair, the jacket coming in the ring, like that was the babyface one. But then the one famously in the Rey Mysterio match is the heel, slicked back Eddie Guerrero, the leaner body, like
what Dominic looked like now.
Yeah, the tights the tights that would then become like his WWE style tights and all that. And famously, that's kind of like the end of Cruiserweight Eddie Guerrero after that, because he tries to make the jump to heavier weight, and then in WWE, that's basically all he is. I mean, I always say it's insane how much he just ballooned the fuck up.
Super. Well,
in
everybody
WWE.
When people are paying tribute to Guerrero, they're paying tribute to the WWE Guerrero,
and it's never the WCW.
It's never because that's
it's more
that's
so because the character stuff. The character stuff was so strong in WWE. Yeah,
right. No, that makes sense.
But if you want, and the Frog Splash again was probably more prominent in WWE than it was in WCW, just in terms that was again, everyone always does that before.
That's the thing.
They do it in honors.
I no disrespect to nobody. Sasha Banks, I know everybody, but they always reference like lie, cheat, steal. They reference the steel chair and you falling down, and that stuff is great. Like that's great character stuff. And I'm not saying he was a great wrestler at that time. My Eddie Guerrero, he's on the spinny stage at Disney MGM Studios or whatever, taking on just flying off the top of the ring, and then hitting. That was the other one. Them Bryan Danielson moves that I'd be seeing, them surfboards. Eddie Guerrero was probably one of the first people I saw hit somebody with them those putting people up in the air but holding them by their feet and shit. Yeah, he was doing all that.
Yeah, I didn't know special. Yeah,
I didn't know what none of that stuff was until I saw Eddie Guerrero.
Me and Cal is very picky on people that is doing the Frog Star Splash. There's some people that's doing it that just don't need to be doing that shit no more. Just stop.
So when Christian was doing it, you didn't have a problem?
Yes, I did. If you're not doing
I'm just saying.
But Jericho's smart, so he wouldn't do no shit like that. He knows I'm not gonna do that because
instead he's like, I'm gonna do a stupid elbow that makes me look ridiculous.
No, it does not. If he hit you like that in your elbow, you gonna fall.
You wouldn't even know what's coming, right? Just sitting around,
Yeah, I would, because he does the.
This nigga. He looked like a homeboy making the beats for fucking hey man, I got this beat, man.
He says,
Again,
that's his whoop that trick elbow.
Because people think it's about the height and not the length, and that's why they look ugly. No disrespect to Montez, stop doing it. It's rough. Disrespect to Sasha Banks, don't do it no more.
It's rough.
Who else is tried to attempt it? We was like, what he doing?
Kevin Owens does it a lot.
Kevin Owens.
He needs to stop.
everybody likes Logan Paul's.
He needs to stop. No, well, he kind of did it correctly, but I don't want him doing it. Though.
Yeah, he's too good at being athletic.
It makes me mad. Can't even slander him like I want to because he's actually pretty better than some of these people that have been wrestling for 5-6 years, and it's making me mad. I can't even slander him like I want to.
You mean like Madcap Moss? But Eddie Guerrero starts this journey as Black Tiger in New Japan. Again, he was part of that initial Super J Cup circuit that they ran, and again, Lionheart, Pegasus Kid.
That was just what it was, right? It was Black Tiger, Pegasus Kid.
Yeah.
But like specific, even before Jericho, like they were beating the shit out of each other in Japan for a bit. I remember every time I watch a Benoit documentary, they talk about that time that Guerrero and Benoit.
That's how they met for the first time. Yeah. And they go out there and they're the two gaijin, because even guys from Mexico consider gaijin because it's outsider, not just white boy.
Right.
but yeah, Eddie Guerrero, again, legend. So my second pick will be, again, another current superstar. And this guy is Kushida.
Ooh.
So when I first started watching New Japan, I was like, I had kind of seen a little bit of him prior just in terms of highlights, but his style, I've just been super into. It's, again, more technical based, the hard hitting strikes. He doesn't do as many flips, but like he'll do the senton to the outside. But again, like the way he'll work the arm for the hoverboard lock, the Kimura, it's just brilliant. Like when someone holds the rope, he'll do the running drop kick, or if someone's on the ground, he'll just do like the soccer style kick. Just his look too, the Back to the Future, Marty McFly look he has. And he was basically the ace of New Japan's junior division for the mid 2010s. He basically was like what Tanahashi was for the heavyweights. He was for the junior weights. He won best of the super juniors. He had been IWGP junior tag champ with Alex Shelley as the time splitters. And even in his brief run in WWE, he won the WWE Cruiserweight title, and he tried to do something with that. And unfortunately, his run there wasn't as good as it was supposed to be, but who even knows what that could have been. But he still had some bangers there with Johnny Gargano, Santos Escobar, and all that. But him and Ospreay, him and Kyle O'Reilly, and the two Super Junior finals that he's won, Kushida, like those are classic matches. I'd say watch those. Him and Kyle O'Reilly have a more technical style match, and him and Ospreay, you can see why. Again, like Will Ospreay is the star of today, and Kushida is, again, he's kind of getting older now and slowing down a bit, but he can still do it just like he showed with Darby Allin. And that's the perfect opponent for him too, is someone for him to pick apart who's the same height and weight, and they can have a great junior style match. But Kushida, see that I don't think he doesn't get disrespected, but he kind of was usurped in Japan by Hiromu Takahashi once, and that's kind of what caused, I think, Kushida to leave and try it in the States for a bit. But I've just been a huge fan of his style, and he can kind of almost wrestle anyone. The Greshams and even the Luchadors. Like, and when he was doing that run for Best of the Super Juniors, he faced, like, I think ACH or Volador Jr. Like, that was a more diverse class the second time he won it. So shout out to Kushida.
Facts. I'm with that.
I know, Keeks, you were surprised by like how good Kushida was when he had faced Darby Allin because you hadn't seen much of him prior, right?
Yeah, no, I have not. I wasn't watching NXT.
He was also in ROH too, like even ROH TV champ.
Okay, I wasn't.
Damn, she said they don't get ROH in Oak Cliff.
What about you, Kyle?
Listen, I only looked at certain things. If Jericho was there, I was watching. So like when Chris Jericho went to New Japan, I went too.
I'm seeing more Kushida now than I did in the past, but Kushida's dope. I want to see more. Give me some more matches.
New Japan World, look him up. Him and Bushi, and a bunch of other guys. They got some classics.
Drip told me to do my Googles. Respect it.
Him and Kenny Omega had 2 matches where they exchanged the IWGP title back and forth, junior heavyweight title.
Tell me the one where Kenny Omega loses.
That's the Wrestle Kingdom before he becomes a heavyweight. Next night is when they betray AJ Styles. That'd be Wrestle Kingdom in 2016. I can't remember what number that is.
I'm gonna shoot you. I'm sorry.
All right, so I'll let Keeks go this time.
Yeah, let Keeks go.
That way her pick doesn't get taken again.
Yeah, because I had to. I feel like this person. I told you gave you my list, but I'm gonna add this person onto my list because I feel like
that's
nobody.
the point now.
I feel like he does go under the radar, but I'm gonna have to go with Billy Kidman.
I like
Perfect
that.
choice.
I respect that choice. I respect that
Billy
choice.
Kidman. Even though he was during the wild part when WCW was starting to kind of fall apart. But as far as his reign and him as a wrestler,
mm-hmm.
Billy Kidman definitely was ahead of his time. And he wasn't used as he should have been used once WWE bought WCW. I feel like he was one of the ones that they should have pushed further up because his athleticism and Billy Kidman, me personally, he is a great. You could tell he's a safe worker,
mm-hmm.
and also it's just like his style. He still had probably one of the best music interests in
WWE. Yeah.
It's just his style, his way. Like I kind of see a little bit of Jungle Boy,
mm-hmm.
like a Billy Kidman influence in Jungle Boy. He just reminds me of those types, like the low key. I'm good, but I'm not overly flashy. I'm just, so.
I like Kidman. I was a big fan of Kidman. I watched pro wrestling just to see the dope shit, and he was always doing dope shit. It was years later where I realized, he was on heroin. That was supposed to be the gimmick when he was there, because I wasn't thinking about that. Him doing the fucking shooting star, his shooting star press would be so clean, and it was so unexpected.
At times,
well, I mean, he was on heroin. What you expect, Drip? But
no, he had the one where like he went in at like an angle,
right?
Which is why he has like some of the famous botches, because like he just would come off it not frontwards, he would come out like, from the
wherever,
side.
Yeah.
No, well, just like he didn't. It's like he didn't have the faith to push off all the way. But yeah, and that's why like.
I can't remember which match it was that he damn near botched it, but he was saved by the person that he was in the ring with. And I cannot remember who it was that he was wrestling that kind of had to freestyle because the way he was about to land was about to be super wrong. What is you doing? You're trying to kill yourself.
And that's the thing. Like, and he's, again, one of these Americans in this world of like the Juventud, Psychosis, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. Like he's kind of again like, after Malenko, Jericho, and all that. Like he kind of took that spot as like the American representative for the cruiserweight division, and he was champion there, and then he was champion in WWE when they restarted the title there, and he had a few runs with it.
Which is dope.
Is he still producing?
I think so. Yeah.
Let's check.
Because there was that one time where he was the emergency producer for Vince McMahon, like when he had to leave. He produced the whole show by himself. But I think he's still a producer there.
Billy Kidman, WWE.
So the first time I heard that, it was the first time I actually watched wrestling from start to finish that I can remember, and that's WrestleMania 20. They had the Cruiserweight Invitational. It was Shannon Moore, Ultimo Dragon, Jamie Noble, Nunzio, Tajiri, Billy Kidman, Rey Mysterio, Chavo Guerrero, and Akio, who was Jimmy Wang Yang. And when Billy Kidman came, I'm like, this song's like, again, I'm 9 years old. I'm like, this shit's kind of cool. The Rey Mysterio thing comes out in the Flash costume. I'm like, this guy's amazing. Like, oh my God. Like, I'm like, he's the Flash. And like, he's starting to do like the 619 and like springboards over the top. I'm like, whoa. And that, again, that's kind of like the foundation of why I like this style, is like watching that Cruiserweight Invitational, which was only like 7-8 minutes of pure chaos of dudes doing moonsaults and, slamming each other from the top, is because of that match at WrestleMania 20.
His Twitter is at WWE Kidman. He's got a page. His page on WWE.com says that he became a producer for WWE and is seated behind the video wall of WWE's entrance stage at Raw, SmackDown, and all pay-per-views. But I don't know how old this copy is.
I know that's right, Billy.
That would mean he would still be sitting in gorilla position to this day. But I mean, is he? I would if he's in with Triple H, I would assume he should be good money.
I know that's right, Billy.
Well, you know how Triple H changed his tune all of a sudden in the 2010s when he was like, these small guys, they're actually pretty cool. Once the guys he was scared of were out of the picture, he You mean I'm lying?
You're probably right.
You're not.
Unless they were CM Punk, he still held that was just more of a.
That's the one.
I'll hate hates forever. That's yeah.
I'm with it. All right.
Cal, who's your next choice?
It's my turn. Shit.
So this would be your third pick. Keeks just had her third.
We haven't. He was mentioned briefly earlier, and I was looking for the picture. Let me get the
so
picture.
Now you want to put the pictures up when.
Let me get the picture. I put the pictures up sometimes. You didn't send any this week.
That's because you didn't send the list, is what I was saying.
Like I said, I just got my list done a couple hours ago. But when I
try to do on-air production,
let me show you this. I produce show on air all the time. When the first time I saw this image, is he still the only person who have held 11 titles at one time? Ultimate Dragon.
That title of that crown went to Jushin Liger because there's a famous picture of Jushin Liger, and like he has like 8 women holding the belts. Oh, that's too.
Right. Let me see if I can find that image.
I think I had that. Let me send that to you. I think I had it because it's like that was the one like, look at when we were like, look at all these titles. Look at all these. Like, we got titles over here.
On my Instagram when Feifel tried to say that Muta was the mom. I'm like, Cap.
Yeah,
he's
held a lot of titles, but he's not that guy.
Yeah, like I said, Lounge Jushin Liger again.
Well, I think what
their point was that I don't remember this photo.
Well, what Keeks is saying is like Fightful tried to say that Great Muta because he's retiring, so now everything's got to be overblown these days.
Nonsense.
Is that he was the most impactful import from Japanese wrestling? It's like Jushin Liger again was on the very first Nitro. Yeah, I know Cal watched Muta on the Power Hour and all that, and he was impactful too. But they're one's heads and one's tails are the same coin.
Well, the only difference is, and again, just because this is all, I just went through his histories recently. Muta's time is surprisingly short.
Because he went back right away.
The key to the Muta character is 2 things. One, it was only about a year and change, 89 to sometime in 90, and 2. Muta was created here. He had a couple of different gimmicks when he was in Mexico and in Florida, Super Black Ninjas, White Ninja, whatever. But him and Gary Hart said, "You about to be Great Kabuki's son. You're gonna be Muta," and then he took that to Japan and started flip flopping between himself and Muta. So it was like the key with Muta is he started that and it became something big. But that was the first time people like me even saw that shit. Liger and Ultimo Dragon and people like that, their impact is greater because you got to see them more. I saw Ultimo Dragon a lot on TV with all them fucking titles and all that shit. Like that was just a staple. This is the picture Drip was talking about. That's nuts.
No. I just emailed.
You sent me another picture? Where'd you send it?
Yeah.
To my phone.
That's a flex.
To your main Gmail. But yeah, I mean Ultimo Dragon. And
I didn't get it yet.
I didn't see much of him because the famous match he had, again, that WrestleMania 20 match, the Cruiserweight Invitational, was his last match in WWE. And the whole time he signed with WWE was just to have a match at Madison Square Garden. That was the sole reason he spent that year there from 03 to 04. He's like, I just want to wrestle at Madison Square Garden, and that's it.
And I'm out.
But again, you think because he's Acai, he is the inventor of the Acai moonsault. That style of the moonsault versus Great Muta is just kind of awkward style of a moonsault.
Well, I was going to say earlier,
Ultimo Dragon had that one where it's like, watch me soar, like woo, like I'm he's a bird.
The thing with Muta was it's all like I was going to mention it when you were talking about Logan Paul. I don't know if it's the leg strength, but he was able to hit it because if you look at them, especially them early Muta moonsaults, that motherfucker's middle. He was hitting them moonsaults the way Brock Lesnar thought he was going to hit that moonsault at that WrestleMania. He was jumping outward too far.
Upward, yeah.
Muta was just, and it was all leg. Bam! And them shits was so clean, but yeah, when them Acai moonsaults, but Ultimo Dragon is like once little dudes like that come in and start to refine the game, and he literally, isn't he the one that took the style from Mexico?
That's exactly what it is.
He said, "Oh yeah, look at what I found in Mexico. Let me start the dojo over here." But then change the game. It's hard. You talk about pioneers, but like it's hard to keep Ultimo Dragon's name out of this when you look at what he started and how that changed how people worked after that.
That beef kind of with Lil Park was kind of.
Well, you see Ultimo Dragon and his success in Mexico is that's the strength of like New Japan's excursion system. Like go elsewhere, come back better, and we can make something of you. But he just had that fondness for Mexico and their style that he just kind of stayed there longer. He would come to Japan, like that's why he has all those titles. But those are also that's that at the time where all these companies in America, Mexico, and Japan. That's why all those titles exist. That pick they were all in cooperation of like our smaller guys will all be in their own kind of like pool system where they'll trade these titles within each other. It's like only these guys are allowed to wrestle for these titles because again, one's Mexico, one's America, one's England, one's Japan, and all that encapsulates with it.
Like he had 3 different NWA titles,
and he trained Okada, and that's why Okada kind of wrestles that style of like. When you see, Ultimo Dragon's much more mat-based and technical style, even though you think he'd be because he did the Asai Moonsault, but like he wrestles a grounded style that, as he says, like that's the other part of Lucha Libre. It's not just the flips over the ropes; it's they wrestle grounded because they're all kind of the same build. They can do that with each other.
Word.
But when you come to America and you face again, if you're not facing Brad Armstrong, you have to face Scott Norton. That's not gonna work out as much. You can't put Scott Norton in the Romero special or
facts.
Anything else.
Let's go. I'm sorry.
So Ultimo Dragon, and again, just a great look. The mask, and that's the thing about him and Liger. Why I think they're also the same. So like they just had these looks, and again, one's from anime, but like you always see Jushin Liger looking like he's a Power Ranger, and Ultimo Dragon just like that's what you would think of like a guy who's a dragon would dress as a wrestler. Like
facts. This shit. Look at that shit. That's amazing.
Now I sent it to the main email.
I don't know
the other image.
Oh, to the main to my email or to the Black Wrestling email?
To your email where the link from the show is. But so my third choice.
I got it.
My third choice. This is going to be a shocker to both of y'all, but this guy killed it when WWE was trying to bring back the Cruiserweight division. He was the only saving grace of 205 Live.
Let me see.
Buddy Murphy.
I thought you were about to say something
the
else.
Real Kenny Omega. When Buddy Murphy, because he was after he broke off from Alexa Bliss and Wesley Blake, he was kind of doing the NXT Florida circuit, and he was not getting that main NXT shine. And then all of a sudden, like he goes on the 205 Live, and they built him up as like the juggernaut of the Cruiserweight division, and it made sense because like he's super jacked, and he's able to go toe to toe with the flips, the speed, and he has the strength to lift these guys up and just crush them. And it worked so well. They had the brilliant idea of using a weight, like every time they weighed him before the match, like is he in at 205 or not? Like he had barely made it one time at 204. And Drake Maverick's like, all right, you're qualified to face Mustafa Ali and all that. I mean, he famously takes the title from Cedric Alexander at that Super Showdown in Australia. Him and Mustafa Ali had a great back and forth feud. He retained it for a couple months, but like 205 Live was pretty much, nothing. I mean, when we had the WWE Network, we would only check it sometimes. I'm speaking collectively for the three of us. If there was a wrestler we really liked, I'd say we check it out. If there was a banger that week between Hideo Itami and whoever, I got to watch this match. But other than that, like 205 Live and the Cruiserweight title didn't matter until they moved the title to NXT and such. But Buddy Murphy, shout out to Eve, he was also Buddy Murphy Hive as well. Buddy Murphy was doing the work. And this is at the time where like Kenny Omega's having his run in Japan, but Buddy Murphy's doing the same thing with the V trigger and his slam. Like he was doing the senton over the top rope. He basically stole his whole fucking flow.
Is that why they hired him, to let him just sit around and do nothing?
Basically, to be honest, yeah, Tony Khan has done that. Let's not act like Tony Khan hasn't done that.
Oh my God!
Kenny said, "Hey,
focus, Drip. Let's focus."
He doing my moves again. You see that shit?
Adam Cole just gets squashed back to back by Adam Page.
Let's focus on the subject.
Tony Khan, you ain't as slick as you think you are. Yeah, again, he's got some Vince McMahon to him, but not when he needs it.
Damn. Yeah, he did.
Not when because again he lets the inmates run the asylum, but that's another topic for another. But Buddy Murphy, this is supposed to be an all-star team. Every year there's an all-star. Like, oh yeah, they did have a crazy year that one year. Yeah, this
is Christian Layton.
Yeah, Yeah.
That's funny. I'm sorry.
But not. No thoughts on Buddy Murphy from either of you?
No, it's cute, but
I hear he's a very good wrestler, and he's got a school, right? I get it. I don't know if I've seen. Did I watch? I wasn't watching. I thought when you said 205,
more of him.
When you said 205, I thought you were going to say Neville when you said 205 Live. That's why I was.
I do. That's the thing too. There, we might have to run a part 2 in a few months of the people who haven't made this list because there are some key names that haven't been discussed by. So the Neville pack, is definitely one of those guys. But I enjoyed Buddy Murphy's run as champ more than Neville's, even though it started to matter more when Neville did that because he was doing the opposite. That he was doing. I'm not going to do flips.
Right.
He was so angry at being the flippy guy. He's like, I'm going to do the complete opposite of that. That's why you just would do the brain buster from the top rope and the Rings of Saturn hold.
Word.
Because he was I'm not flipping's done. I'm done with it. It's gotten
me
nowhere. Yeah.
You want flips? No flips. No chaos. Anyway, no, I respect it, Drip. He's a shooter. Is Buddy Murphy a shooter? He ain't shooting. He not shooting like Dean Malenko was shooting.
No, he's again one of these byproducts of the AJ Styles, Kenny Omega.
Right.
We're strong enough to pick up guys and slam them, but we're also athletic enough to keep up with speed wise and do moonsaults and sentons. So
I've always heard that he's good. I mean, he's rolling with what's the name now, right? What the fuck? Aleister Black. What's his name?
Malachi Black.
Black.
Julia Hart. Yeah.
Give them something to do.
They're supposed to be heading, well, hopefully with the Elite, but again, Booker.
What is this? What is this?
Two-time Booker of the Year can't book for shit. So I mean,
we'll see.
But all right, so that's my third pick. Keeks, this is your fourth and final pick. Who are you taking?
Oh shit.
You still have a pick from your list, the original list that hasn't been chosen.
I know, but I don't even want to pick those no more because Cal might got one because we have.
Nah, pick whoever you're gonna pick. Pick whoever you're gonna pick. Honestly,
I forgot let me look and see what I told him because
pick whoever you're gonna pick.
The most obvious thing, we've mentioned him numerous times.
I already said Chris Jericho.
No,
that's the other one. The other most obvious one.
Who faced Chris Jericho? Who did I say faced Chris Jericho numerous times?
The other most
Eddie
obvious
Guerrero.
One.
The other guy.
I'm not saying him. I'm not saying him. You talking about name that shall not be named?
No.
We ain't said his name yet. We ain't said this person's name yet.
As a selection.
As a selection. No.
Oh my god. I'm gonna have to type in the chat.
I know he's on Cal, so I'm gonna say.
No. It's you. He typing in the chat. Yeah. Did you?
Yes, I had him, but now since he brought up 205, I don't want to leave this person. I kind of feel like Rich Swann did a good job.
Okay.
With the Cruiserweight.
I like that.
He did kind of made it a little important with the storyline that he had with Pac, for the belt.
But that's all it was, unfortunately, it was just sitting for Neville,
But it was good. It was good for what it was. It did make it important because fans were behind it. You did see some signs.
Word.
And like that. So I would say Rich Swann, Blackish Swann.
I'm not mad at that. And he said, because he still does his thing as well.
Yeah.
He's an X Division champion as well,
Oh, in Impact?
Yeah.
Because he's still in Impact, right?
Yes.
I thought he left.
I don't know.
I think he's still there.
Let me go to Cage Match to see because I've not heard it. I've not seen his face on Impact a lot.
Right. I've seen it at other places. Like he recently had something with Leo Rush, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he beat Kenny King. He wrestled. That was January 21st. But he's been at Revolver. He was at CZW. He lost to Leo Rush last week at CZW. Lost to Tuco Scorpio. Yeah, he's been wrestling at a number of different spots, but it looks like he does Impact fairly often. Not the way he was.
Yeah, because he was
at the beginning of pandemic and stuff like that. But he
was a champion. I forgot he was a champion.
Yeah, he you know why he was the champ because he lost it to
that man. Yeah. That man over there. Yeah.
See, you could have picked Kenny Omega, but you didn't.
Black one. Is he considered? He's a heavyweight now, though, right?
But he was a junior heavyweight champion.
But see, I wasn't watching New Japan at that time.
But you can still pick them. That's a whole.
But that would be. But that's against my code. Like I'm not.
Your code. You just. The man in the chat is like the man. The man in your chat is more than. I don't want to disrespect Rich Swann, but I mean, come on, like
on Black History Month, Drip. You saying this on Black History Month?
So who's gonna be on your show Monday?
Damn. So
when because I love PWG. So right when I was getting back into wrestling in the 2010s, I watched PWG highlights a lot, and that's how I found out about Rich Swann. And at that time, they had AR Fox, Cedric Alexander, ACH, and again this class of black wrestlers that are the innovators of the wrestling world. They with the Chris Bays, like I said, the Leon Slaters, the Michael Oakleys, Top Flight. Large in part because the AR Fox too, but you have to incorporate ACH and Rich Swann for sure. And Rich Swann, my favorite thing about Rich Swann is he can do the 450 just by doing the little like hop jumps. Like he doesn't have to do it from the top rope. Like he does have some incredible maneuvers. And when he would have like the wings on his tights, I always like that. I'm not trying to disrespect Rich Swann. I do like Rich Swann, but I was just surprised that you picked him over the choice in the comments. But I don't know if Cal's gonna. I mean, this is a group effort too. We're not trying to say who has the best four because this is
don't worry. I got it. Don't worry.
This will be first. This will be first team.
Because that man. Well, and actually, it's funny because it's good that this is the last pick, or you got one more pick.
I got one more to wrap it up.
Because I do have anyway. So Rey Mysterio Jr. Booyaka. Rey Mysterio Jr. is what I think of when I think of this.
When he was as
type of pro wrestling.
Let me do my best mic tonight. In Mexico, he was known as Colibri, which stands for hummingbird. That was his name before being passed down from his uncle, the original Rey Mysterio. And probably gonna be like, I didn't know all this crap today. Like
Tenay was great with that shit though. I needed Tenay. They need Tenay on instead of Excalibur. Yeah.
No, Excalibur is great at what he does. He's not great at what he did.
He needs some damn help. That's what he needs.
Yeah. put a Tenay out because there's something.
Here's Excalibur after every promo.
Why not? But I mean, at some point, you could replace a Tony Schiavone with a Mike Tenay, right?
Tony Schiavone is better than JR as the old vet commentator.
But it's crazy because JR used to do the same shit Excalibur had to do. If you go back and you have to JR had JR's like, you do it, I have to do it, you do
it. Right.
Welcome back to Monday Night Raw here in Oklahoma City. We are having a world title match between Sting and Steve Williams. Right here coming out to you, I'm joined by Jesse Ventura, real Jim Ross.
Jesus.
No, when I heard the to get ready for WrestleMania 17 and you look at that SmackDown and he has to do the entire thing while it's just like, and then we have blah 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 blah.
We got the Hardys, the Dudleys, Ashton Christian, TLC, and Paul Heyman's probably just like,
I could do
antagonizing.
He probably gets like a towel to blot the sweat off of Jim Ross.
Facts. Like, I mean, he knew that
that 10-gallon resistol hat were out there. Jim Ross,
back when it was a light heavyweight division, they was tag teaming on the commentary on back then. But this was Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio is the ultimate pioneer.
Rey Mysterio, when because he might have only been 18, 19 when I first saw him wrestling in Philly, and it was something about the because I didn't know what a psychosis was the one I was like that's crazy. I don't know what it's like because he was just. I'm gonna kill myself.
He has the horns and the frizzy hair. Yeah.
He said, Ray, you stand out there. I'm gonna run. You get out the way, and I'm gonna kill myself. And then they said we're gonna do it next week. But seeing Ray,
and he still do this shit.
The shit where when he came through and he's on him, and he's got his legs hooked. He's like, yeah, because he's such like the little motherfucking hero. When he went to WCW and was doing that shit, I was so happy for him. I was mad that they took the mask on him. And I'm gonna say this. Because this is dropping the same day I saw this motherfucking video on the timeline.
Oh yeah,
I'm never gonna stop a fan from going for an autograph, but you got to know two things: one, they do not have to say yes, and two, if it's not a fan event and you're seriously rolling up with arms full of. I don't know if they was all Rey Mysterios or what, but dude had at least 6 or 7 figures on him, and somebody else had him too. If he's telling you, look, WWE says we can't sign shit because we supposed to get paid when we get signed, so I can't make no money on the side. Like, you can't continue to film this man to put him on top, you fucking dickhead. And he ain't had no mask on, like, and when I've never told, I told the chat,
this isn't Rey Mysterio you're talking to, this is Oscar Gutierrez you're talking to. I can't sign nothing, you know.
I saw somebody tweet. They were like, I'm surprised that WWE doesn't have more security on these people.
Why? CM Punk said they are independent.
When I pulled into Philly, because I took it was easier for me to take a train to the Philly airport than get to my spot. Trust me, it makes sense to me. I was waiting for my lift. Booker T walked by me to get to his airport shuttle. It wasn't Stevie Ray wasn't there. J&J security wasn't there. No, it was Booker T and his bag. If there was the wrong group of people around and I said, hey, Booker T, the mob that would have came to this man and it would have just been like, you got to eat that. Now, what if these people have stepped to Rey Mysterio? Because he'll hold back on his son when his son step into him on his porch. You coming to me talking about, here, sign this shit where I can make $200-300 a figure with your signature or whatever the going rate for a Rey Mysterio autograph figure is. Like, you privileged ass motherfuckers. But nah, Rey Mysterio been doing this shit for too goddamn long in America, outside of what he was doing before, bringing the style and showing y'all what time it was here. Anytime that man could be a champion, anytime I'm waiting for the day. I've been wanting them to do the breaking the record of people wearing the masks at WrestleMania that they've been talking about for so long. They better do this shit in LA right now. But give the way I want y'all to give Jushin Liger and Ultimo Dragon their flowers. You better respect. Not the 619 is ill, but go back and watch those matches. Go back and watch Skinny Rey Mysterio, early WCW. First or second match on Nitro.
They laughed at him backstage. Kevin Nash, they thought he was someone's kid. Like, who let this guy?
They lawn darted him. They took them up. That's one of the funniest scenes ever. But it's funny because he's so tiny and you got this giant doing it. But that was the disrespect because they thought that wrestling was this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, their knees couldn't, bend more than this way. Yeah.
Hulk Hogan had to sever the nerve in his back. He can't even feel his legs when he's walking because of that damn shit. Meanwhile,
that's karma.
Did y'all see the clip of Bull Nakano? She did a leg drop off the top of a cage, landed the leg drop, and stood up.
Hasn't Rikishi done that too? Yeah.
I don't know. But did Rikishi then run to the next corner, then get up on there to do another one?
Probably not. No.
Bull Nakano was something else. I'm sorry, this is so off the topic. But Rey Mysterio. No Cruiserweight All-Star team is complete without Rey Mysterio. Respect that, man. Anyway, I'm sorry, Drew.
No, and again, like being a kid, seeing him like sit in the Flash, and then that would be a reoccurring thing throughout his career, like the theme costumes. He was Captain America, he was Iron Man, he was Batman. He just had like this. He was always cool for every generation of fan. Your generation, Cal, Keeks, mine, the future. As he's come back, kids if you want to get a kid into wrestling, like show them Rey Mysterio, like look at this guy's outfit, look what he can do again, like the 619, the Hurricane Runs, and he would do the West Coast pop lightning quick Hurricane Run on guys he could do it on, like the Jamie Nobles or the Tajiris, guys who could actually take the full force of a Hurricane Rana.
He's still low key doing stuff too. When every time he had a match,
he needed those knees to be rejuvenated, and that saved the last 5 years because he was cooked in 14.
Well, I was gonna say before he left, I remember there was one match with John Morrison that he had on SmackDown that was singles match, was really fucking phenomenal. But when he left Raw this most recent time and went to SmackDown, there were those first couple of did he have a match with I think it was Gunther. And he was able to bounce around. Yeah. He was able to bounce around, and because he can still pull off some shit when he wants to. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, protect Rey Mysterio. Don't be coming up to that man at the airport.
All right. My final pick. It's the guy who, again, is still holding it. Again, because y'all two kind of picked a lot of the classic ones, so it's forced me to go more new school. But this guy is really holding down. If it's not Will Ospreay, it's this guy, and that's Ricochet. I mean, the 630s, the double moonsaults. I mean, walking on Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows to take out AJ Styles, doing the springboard to the outside in the Thunderdome. Like, at the end of the day, a lot of this is high spots, which is why it's been knocked. It's just guys doing gymnastics and flips. It's choreography. Famously, him and Will Ospreay did the counter for counter Dragon Ball Z inspired, sequence in New Japan during that Best of the Super Juniors. But Ricochet, when he was doing it as Prince Puma too, which is, him and Rey Mysterio crossing paths for the first time and all that. But again, to see Ricochet kind of evolve over the course of years, like first seeing him in PWG and then in New Japan, and then now WWE, NXT before that too. Because I mean, when he would do Dragon Lee does this move too, but like when someone's standing on the apron, you jump over the apron to then Hurricane Rana them off. Like that's a tough move too. But like almost everything, like Ricochet can do almost everything that anyone else tries to do. That he is like, and it's almost perfect every single time. I mean, and famously, it always, I still want to know if it's real or not because they never show like the full angle. But when he famously leapt over the top rope in front of the Redacted Dream, again, it's still an all-time sequence. When that man just looks out, I'm like,
no, that's a good one.
Like, did this man just do this? Like,
I mean, Ricochet's the one that helped Logan Paul get his Rumble moment, right? Like nobody else was going to be springboarded across the rope.
But how did that start? Because him.
That little spot. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and who? Where did that start with? Carmelo Hayes. Like, if there's not someone who's on par with Ricochet, it's Carmelo Hayes, and that's why that match had the build it did with like the guy who can do the real like half man, half amazing human highlight real stuff is Ricochet, and he's been that guy. And at times we kind of just like look down on him because how he is as a person maybe might not seem like he might seem a little bit dorky. He's had bad taste in women in the past, but
a little bit of dorky.
A little bit. No, but yeah,
but it's always easy. But he's a hell of a wrestler. Like it's like,
when he gets in that ring, it's there's no question.
It don't matter. And he was like they forced this man to wrestle in jeans at some point. Same thing with Kushida. Like Shawn Michaels like put some jeans on Kushida. If I was Kushida, like wrestle in jeans. Like is this what they do in America? Like they forced Ricochet to wrestle in fucking jeans, and then he decided like Jordan 1s, I'm gonna wrestle in those for a couple months. Like why? And still do the same shit. I mean, he can do it all. If they thought like Sin Cara was going to be the successor to Rey Mysterio, but really it's kind of been Ricochet, and they've botched that handoff numerous times. And whether that was Vince McMahon's regime or Triple H sticking him with Braun Strowman, it's still not a good thing. Like, I'd say his career isn't panning out the way it should have based off just his legacy and everything like that.
They don't like high flyers.
Yeah.
No, they do. Triple H does, but like he can't have his whole vision with like the Roman Reigns and
I don't believe that one bit. I don't
look at NXT. I'm saying Black and Gold prior to the change, it was Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano.
I mean,
Ricochet, Andrade.
Being not for ROH, yeah.
Yeah, he had the mission. Well, he had the vision to kill those companies.
Liked high flyers. Everybody has said that even when he was a wrestler, he felt
of course,
because he couldn't do the shit, so he was jealous of it, and he don't like high flyers. He really don't.
No, you're right. And that's why he tried to steal it from those companies, because he knew that's what sold at the time. It's like an actor or a musician. Like, what's hot right now? I need to be in something like that right now. Then,
damn,
a fraud.
Hey, maybe in the future Ricochet can. Well, I say the future. He may only have so much time. Maybe at some point Ricochet can get a proper shake at a title, a real a Kofi Mania-esque run that means something.
But as they say, he can't talk, so
he can't though. That is the unfortunate part.
But he say, "I didn't come here to talk."
That is true. Sometimes you don't need guys to talk, because you have guys like Cody Rhodes who talk too much. Like,
what do you put a mask on him and give him a Zelina Vega or somebody? Like, what do you do?
Well, because he can't play heel either as a thing. Like as a wrestler, like he can't play heel, which so like him and Selena Vega wouldn't have made sense, like how it did for Andrade or Santos. But even if Santos can talk, that's why that decision didn't make sense.
Put him in a tag scene.
Yeah, just not with Braun Strowman. Yeah, not Braun Strowman. Who again, you want to talk about I hate flippy dudes? That's Braun Strowman. Like,
well, yeah, he needs one of those teams that's gonna like maybe somebody younger.
That's why him and Cedric made sense during the
Thunderdome.
Like them being like cool. WWE's top flight. Well, I mean,
Cedric is cooler than him. And Cedric?
No, I think the exact opposite. No offense to Cedric Alexander.
I mean, out of everybody in Hurt Business, Cedric's the least cool, and I think he's cool. There's a reason he's in there. And Ricochet's
Benjamin
not.
Was cooler than you, and again, Shelton Benjamin is an all-time legend to me. But yeah,
I've never really heard Cedric cut a promo though.
No, me neither. But
does he talk?
I've never really. Maybe it's just that he looks better in a suit than Ricochet does to them because Ricochet's wearing jeans and is being a superhero. Like I don't know. There's something about Ricochet that feels off to them, or he'd be in those positions.
Ricochet took that mantle over him, like with the Nightwing inspired gear that at that SummerSlam against AJ Styles. Like he dressed like Miles Morales against Johnny Gargano at that takeover. Like Ricochet. He could have been their next Rey Mysterio. He was right there, but sadly, it's not the case. But here's our team for the first ever White Noise Cruiserweight Junior Heavyweight All-Stars. We got AJ Styles, Jushin Liger, Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Kushida, Billy Kidman, Ultimo Dragon, Rich Swann, Rey Mysterio, and Ricochet.
I mean, shit. That's a solid squad right there.
And diversity. Oh, okay.
And diverse. Some white people in there.
There were some people I had to honorable mentions, so we can run this back another time. And then,
there were some names that didn't get mentioned either. So
and I don't want to shout them out now, but again, like I said, this is basically influence. It was trying to, I'd say, the main event, influence the main event, but again, like you see AJ Styles, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, obviously, Guerrero, but like they start here, and then that becomes the thing. Like their work ethic and workforce style becomes the main attraction. Something like AEW is built on the backs of wrestlers like these because you get someone like Heyman Page who, like, I mean, maybe there's more that Shawn Michaels influence of a guy who wants to be considered a heavyweight but will do moonsaults and show that he's fast and all that. And it's all influence from Mexico, Japan, England, and whatever we could in America offer. But again, a lot of these guys are influenced from those that came before them. But
damn,
is it safe to say the Cruiserweight division is for the minorities only?
That's what Eric Bischoff said. Yeah,
it's just still all the brown people over there.
That's why they can't do it.
Yeah.
No, legit. Eric Bischoff was like, "Listen, Eddie Guerrero, go back to where you belong."
Wait, so if
Chris Jericho, when he was trying to get his run, Eric Bischoff was just like, "Fuck you, you work with the small guys."
So realistically, if Eric Bischoff had a team that was like the Young Bucks, would we have had Rey Mysterio in them? Because he would have just used the Young Bucks.
Eric Bischoff would not have used the Young Bucks. No, they would.
You don't think?
Fuck no.
He had Alex Wright, didn't he?
Alex Wright it was like 6'2". He was just skinny. He was basically Zack Sabre Jr.
He was you. Just
I'm not tall.
Taller.
He's taller than me, so he's tall.
I'm not tall. But Alex Wright.
This is who they were signing. He would have signed the Young Bucks, are they?
We got Disco fucking Inferno.
We could have got.
But he's 6'2", like 240. Or that's like,
what were they called? Generation Me or whatever.
Yeah, no, Eric Bischoff. The Young Bucks were there when Eric Bischoff took over TNA, and he didn't see anything in them when they were Generation Me. It's probably the same thing that Booker T said. Like these guys have no body definition. They're average guys off the street who can just do flips.
I'm sorry.
That's what they were saying.
That's why they so bitter because they got to eat their words now.
Of course, yeah, because they want a job and they didn't get one.
I'm not gonna have a conversation about the Young Bucks anytime soon.
You mean your favorite tag team of all time?
Nope. I do not want to. They say that match was phenomenal.
It was.
They've had good matches, Cal. Come on.
Yeah.
They've had better matches than FTR. I'll say that.
and then and most of the matches, what? I want to hear it, y'all. I want to hear it. I'm gonna tag him. I'm gonna kick him. I'm over.
So you mad at people playing to the crowd?
I'm over the shtick.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
I'm over the shtick.
There are times where it's needed, and sometimes where it isn't. But
yeah, I love y'all.
I hate fun. Oh my god.
No, it's not. I love fun. I love fun.
Cal loves fun when it's a man grabbing another man's
shtick.
wrists when that man's on the ground, so he can just like stomp.
I'm tired of
face. That's the type of fun Cal likes.
I'm tired of them.
I like death matches.
I'm
don't.
Who?
You like death matches?
I'm from Texas. I love death matches. We love that.
So you would have loved Hoodfoot versus Billy Dixon for the culture.
That was sloppy. It's a difference between sloppy, what they think is death matches are, and actual death matches. Death matches, you don't have to just continuously do what that did. That's not a death match. That's just chaos.
Getting
That's what GCW thinks is death matches are. That's not what death matches are. It has some type of technique to it. The death match that does have technique to it is Moxley and Lance Archer. That's what a death match is supposed to look like. Not that shit that they be doing.
I'm with it.
But we're gonna wrap it up.
On that note,
it's the truth. Like,
no,
hitting people with the stuff, that is brutality. I don't know.
Oh, I agree. Yeah,
what that is. That is brutality. That's taking it too far.
I'm with you 100%.
Texas death match, you it's a limit. They go too far.
There's something about to die. They
GCW. I gotta stop doing that because we don't want nobody to take it too far.
That's the thing, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick because we'll probably be doing a bonus episode. If you're watching this now, a bonus episode might be on the way for White Noise. We'll be covering some news of the week. Normally, that's where we save for the end of the show, but the show's kind of going long. But I don't know if you've seen this or not, Keeks. Yesterday, a trailer dropped for an upcoming Amazon show co-created by Donald Glover called Swarm, which is a dark take on Beyonce-like fandom. How do you feel of that as a member of the Bayhive?
Oh, somebody's coming for us, basically.
So the show, Dominique Fishback plays a woman who's obsessed with a Beyonce-like pop star in this fictional world. Oh,
not them throwing shade. Okay.
It's basically that, and it's a thing like her fandom is gonna drive her to the point of insane. Where like Damson Idris will be on the show, so Chloe Bailey.
Interesting.
This is basically I've never seen this.
What start with the barbs?
That's a good question.
But I've never seen this movie. But it's basically The Fan, which starred Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes, where Robert De Niro was a fan of Wesley Snipes' character, who was a star baseball player. You've seen The Fan.
Yeah, the movie is crazy.
It's basically that. He's a knife salesman.
He was a knife salesman, and then
the only reason I know this because there's a great Bill Simmons, Adam Carolla bit where they talk about movies that are described so uniquely that you could guess it instantly. And Adam Carolla's like, we played movie trivia one time, and they're like, all right, Adam, here's your question. A knife salesman. And Adam Carolla goes like, The Fan.
Yeah.
And he's like, because there's no other movie that instantly starts with a knife salesman. But yeah there is a show. I wanted to say this because this past weekend was the Grammys.
Mm-hmm.
The Queen Bee did not win Album of the Year because one Harry Styles did. And I will say, someone like Harry Styles is why white people should be stopped.
Oh, shit.
And why that's why our society
to me. Yeah, dude, all the
shit
time.
like that. Exactly. Do you mean men who dress the way you do? Because I mean, David Bowie was doing that, and you basically just took his whole fucking flow.
True.
So we're not even gonna get there again. We have to blame women for Harry Styles because Harry Styles ain't for them, no matter how hard they try to make it seem like. He's legit for the them, not the women them.
And they fell in love with that man. Yeah, no, you're right, Trip. You're 100% right about that.
But no, I just wanted to ask. So, would you be tuning into this upcoming show that attacks a woman like you, a member of the Bayhive?
I will not, because I already don't like how this sounds. It's about.
She can't deal with that.
I can't. They should have started that with the barbs. Why they gotta come at us? Like,
did you get tickets to the show?
Not yet. I am gonna get it. They haven't released the prices in Dallas.
Oh.
So I think she's doing it by the UK first, because UK got theirs, and there's certain states that we don't even know yet. And you know, they still under Ticketmaster, they still being monitored because of Taylor Swift stuff. So
damn. Well,
yeah, I just wanted to bring that up.
I was about to say, wasn't ain't Harry Styles was in
One Direction,
the movie in The Eternals? Was that him?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
then
he's been in a couple movies. Yeah,
no. He tries.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's not been good, but he's starting to. He's trying to have a career in acting. Yeah.
In Dunkirk,
he was in One Direction.
Yeah.
He may be the most popular at this point, right?
Yeah. He is eclipsed all of them at this point.
I just know the fine one, the one that start with the Z. I can't think of his
Zayn
name.
Malik.
Yeah, him.
One Direction has some bangers. Yeah, I didn't fuck with it at the time because it was like you. As a guy at the time, you couldn't be seen like in One Direction, but now when you can be more comfortable with stuff, like One Direction has some bang. Yeah, you know exactly what I mean, Cal. Like you can't like this. Like it might be too girly or too feminine. But
they
like,
did
now
have some good. They had some good, decent songs.
Randall Cunningham. That's all I know. Randall Cunningham. That's all I know is Randall Cunningham. I'm sorry, y'all.
But yeah, like so we'll be back with covering the news of the week, and I would want to ask your opinion on this, but you made a vocal on Twitter, Keeks, about the Fast X trailer. That's what the bonus episode will be about, covering that. See. But Keeks, where can people find you on social media, and what else do you have? That you
before I say so, I just want to say Vin Diesel, that shit is ridiculous.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Cars, okay. Your car just not be total.
Okay.
You can find me on Public Enemies podcast, on their YouTube channel. All Elite with Keeks is every Monday live, and also everything will be out Tuesday on the outlets. Vin Diesel, that was ridiculous.
Stop it. You got other things to promote.
I'm trying to understand what Jason Momoa has to do.
Stop it.
They just added him in.
You will see.
Where's The Rock? We don't.
First of all, that man is a fraud, and you know it. I've been telling y'all for 2.5 years, but y'all don't listen. Y'all never. Y'all hear me, but you never listen. Stop. And that's
The Rock is not in there. They got a person that got killed. That he blew
I will
up
explain
in the car,
this,
and they have him on this movie like nothing happened. Like we didn't see him get blown up on Tokyo Drift. They have him back, and then he died again, and then they bring him back again.
He didn't die again. He died in Tokyo Drift, which takes place after the events of Fast and Furious.
Han died 2 times in Fast and Furious, and they brought him back again.
He died once. He died in Tokyo Drift. And that even then he didn't die. Tokyo Drift takes place after Fast and Furious 6. It's like Star Wars. It's told out of order.
But didn't he die again with that? After the girl.
No,
his girlfriend.
Gal Gadot died, and then they show the Tokyo Drift scene after that.
He died, and they bringing him back. And then the Gigi girl, she died, and they bringing her back.
Yes, Gal Gadot is now coming back because she's no longer Wonder Woman.
I can't do it. I'm good.
People dying.
You have other things. You have other things to promote, like you have shirts to promote. You can purchase the merch. The link is in the bio. But yeah, where is your bio? You didn't even plug where they can find.
The link is in the bio.
The link is in the bio on Twitter. People dying and never die for. Oh, you missed the Cunningham Mama Cal put up.
Oh my
Mama Keeks, she got the
my fault. That's what's up.
Oh my God.
Shouts to Randall Cunningham.
Oh my God.
She got the Eagles and everything.
Hold on. Mama ready. I love it.
This just today. Tomorrow gonna be all out. I'm going all out. I'm just.
Hang on. What are you gonna wear when I'm with you?
Hey, what you want me to wear, baby?
I mean, whatever you got.
Hey, I'll be sexy if you want me to be sexy.
All right.
Why is my face cut off?
Because you
got to get a little bit lower. Whoa.
I got to bend down. Oh,
you got to go
this way.
I love it.
Beautiful woman.
I love it.
I know you just turned 30, right?
Yes, I did. I just turned 30. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Salute.
Beautiful.
Oh my
Salute.
God. Yeah, she eagled down.
She's a hater. She's a hater.
She eagles.
She's a hater.
She's eagled down.
Are you allowed to wear cowboy stuff during the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I wear my cowboy stuff anyway. I
Just
wear my
making sure.
cowboy stuff.
It keeps the bugs away. So
Yeah, so Drip, I'm sorry, but Vin Diesel is ridiculous.
But all elite with Keeks.
And I'm still
all elite Keeks on Twitter.
Still watch it. I'm still watch it, but I'm just saying, like, he jumped out of. First of all, that Camaro is not strong enough.
It's a Dodge Charger, not a Camaro.
The Charger is not strong enough to bring down 2 choppers. That is impossible. That's impossible, Drip, and you know it. You know when you saw that it was ridiculous.
No, I didn't. What I saw was greatness. What I saw was the strength of a man and his bond to a car and what NOS can do when used correctly.
Jesus Christ.
I saw somebody say cinema under there. I'm like, y'all are.
It's blockbuster cinema. That's what it's like. These are blockbusters. 5, 6, and 7. They went for the 3-peat.
I'm glad this is over.
They'll keep it going. They'll keep it going. His son will be cut. His son will take over. It'll be like Batman Beyond. Like his son has a crew.
His son is taking over.
His son's like 8 in this movie. His son has somehow aged rapidly in these years. And his son, like, I will point this out in this bonus episode of Banks, but
Eve so he's going to be a criminal just like his daddy.
No, well, Eve asked me, shout out to Black Announce Table, Eve asked me, how is his son now black? And I'm like, I'll explain it to you on a later date because his son is now a black actor. But if you look at that kid in Fast 9, it is not a kid who would grow up to be that kid. It's like,
damn.
It just confirms that Vin Diesel is black.
Oh, no, he is, yeah, but he's one race. That's why his production company is called that.
All Elite Keeks on Twitter.
Yeah, All Elite Keeks on Twitter. I changed my name, y'all, but it's back to my original name. I put Team WWE Garrett because I was bad at that decision Tony Khan did. And I started trolling, like, when does SmackDown come out? All WWE with Keeks.
Damn.
But I'm back All Elite with Keeks because I saw the card for next week. So
let's fucking go.
Cal, where can they?
At Cal on Twitter, at Black Wrestling on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. But you already know, youtube.com/Black Wrestling. Every Thursday, 8:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Giving you 5 mics, podcasting excellence. Shouts out to the squad. You already see him. Drip.
All right. Like I said, you can follow me on Twitter at Davis, aka Drip. Instagram, Davis Colm DC. White Noise every week on the BRP Patreon. It replays on YouTube the week later. We got some big episodes planned. Like I said, this bonus Fast X trailer review with my brother Banks, the Roman Pierce to my Brian O'Connor. We will be back breaking it down and covering some other news of the week in Hollywood. And then the next few weeks, we'll be maybe covering Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Mercedes Monet's New Japan debut. I might try to get a special guest for that episode as well. Creed 3 will be coming out soon. So stay tuned. Movies, wrestling, a whole bunch of more content from your favorite white boy that makes the white noise. So keep paying the 1, keep paying the 10. Again, stay tuned. All Elite with Keeks. I might be there sometime. You never know. But like I said, every Thursday, Black Wrestling on YouTube. 5 mics, world famous, Insight and Entertainment, or as fans spelled it today, Insight, INCITE. I'm like, oh, I didn't expect it that way. But I guess if we want to incite some shit, we'll do it. Like how to wipe your ass, or whatever.
It all works.
Yeah, I didn't add. I use wipes. So
wet ones. Yeah, that's good. You're supposed to.
I don't use toilet paper. I only use wipes. Yeah.
Okay, you got to get everything.
Yep.
If y'all like, Trick Daddy said a while ago, if you're not using wet ones,
again, people know I'm clean. Again, just But we'll see you next time. Peace.